Hey guys, how's it going? Connor here at etrailer.com. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Curt trailer wiring harness here for our 2014 Volkswagen Jetta SportWagen. Our Curt trailer wiring harness is going to be an excellent option for our Jetta here. As you can see, we have the industry standard 4-pole trailer connector on the end, which is going to provide our basic lighting functions such as our running lights, our left stop and turn, as well as our right stop and turn. Now, this is going to be suitable for most of the smaller trailers, which we could potentially be towing with our Jetta. So as you can see here, we have our trailer connector on the outside of the vehicle, and it's actually going to be ran inside through the trunk. So as you can see here, when it's not in use, we would just simply coil it up. Then we could tuck it away in one of these pockets here, so it's safe when we're not using it. We don't have to worry about any corrosion happening with the terminals on our pins. And when we are ready to use it, we just simply take it out like so, drape it over the back part of our trunk here, making sure we avoid that striker plate there. We can close our hatch. Now keep in mind there is an alternate installation method. For our end of our 4-way connector here, we could route it out and permanently attach it to the hitch by removing the spare tire and routing it through a grommet in there. And then we carry some brackets here at eTrailer that'll help you attach it to your hitch tube for a permanent installation. So in regards to installation, this is going to be something that you can do at home by yourself. However, keep in mind there isn't a plug-and-play kit available for this vehicle, so we do have to splice into some factory wires. However, the included quick splice connectors that come with the kit make this process real simple, and we don't have to actually sever any of the factory wires, we're just simply teeing into them. And now that we've gone over some of the benefits and features, let's go ahead and show you how to install this yourself. So the first step of our installation today, we're going to need to remove the wiring harness from the back of our taillights. We're going to need to do this for both the passenger and the driver's side. So in order to do this, we want to simply open our hatch, and then we want to remove our taillight access panels here, which just pry out. Here we see the wiring harness that leads into our taillight housing. We just want to press down this connector here, pull straight out. Just like that. So once we have this one removed, we can go ahead and repeat this process on the other side of the vehicle. We need to start removing some of these threshold panels here, so we have access behind the taillight assemblies where our wiring harness is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our little divider here, just going to fold that out of the way, and then we're going to remove our little floor panel here, which reveals our spare tire. We don't have to take the spare tire out, but we are going to need to remove this next. We're going to have two fasteners on the inside, which we're going to need a flathead screwdriver in order to take out. See those just like that. Once we get those out, we want to set them aside so we don't lose them. So now we can go ahead and begin to pry our threshold panel off. We're going to want to pull straight up to release the tabs that are down into the body of the vehicle here. So I'm just going to get a grip on the bottom there. We're just going to pull up, making sure not to pull too much up at once. We're going to work our way along here, just like that. Just to show you the fasteners here, see the little clips and the corresponding holes on the vehicle here. So now we need to come here to the back of our panel that we folded back. We need to remove these torque screws. Here, we're going to be using a T15 Torx bit for this. And then we have two more over here. Now we can go ahead, once we have the Torx bits removed, and remove our little floor panel here and set it aside. So now we need to lift up this little cover here. We're going to have two more T15 Torx bits we need to remove. And we have one on the side here holding our strap on. That needs to come out as well. So now, under our seatbelt anchors here, we have some more Torx fasteners we need to remove. Same size as before. Once we have those three out, We can now go ahead and take off this panel. Set it aside. So in order to remove these center bracing sections here, we actually have some 10mm nuts that are going to be down in these two holes here, which we're going to show you how to remove. Once those are off, we can show you there. So those are 10mm nuts holding the bracing on. We have to remove one on each of these sides. Once we get those both out, then we'll show you how to remove the rest of the panel. So now we have a piece that's going to go into our other panel here, sort of a just pin that's going that way. So what we need to do is we need to lift up and then pull straight out just like that. Now we can set these aside. So now we have a cargo hook we need to remove up here using a T25 Torx bit. We have one on the other side we need to remove as well. And that should give us enough room to pry these panels back. So now that we have all the floor bracing out, we can go ahead and start to remove our interior panel here. As you can see, we already have it pulled out, and that's just to show you where the fasteners are at that we need to pry out. As you can see here, we have the similar metal tabs and the holes in the body like we did on the thresh panel. So basically, we just want to pull out away from us in the general location of these tabs. So now that we have all the clips out, looks like we have two more Torx fasteners here that need to come out as well. Now we should be able to pull the rest of the panel away. So we actually went ahead and did the same thing to the driver's side panel away, pulling it away from the vehicle so we have more room to work. We're going to take the driver's side taillight connector here, and we're going to remove some of the tape here so we have more room to work with our wires. So just took a little utility blade, and being careful not to pierce the wires here, but we're just going to remove some of this. So we have more room for our quick splice connectors. That should be good. So we've already went ahead and tested our wires here. So we're going to go ahead and do the legwork for you, and just tell you what those are so you don't have to test these yourself. The black wire with the gray stripe is going to be for our running lights. So we want to take one of our quick slice connectors here, slide it over like so. Then we want to take the brown wire from our converter box and slip it in the other end over there, just like so. Then we can go ahead and close the cap here. Take our pliers here, just crush the two ends together, just like so. Now we'll just check our connection here to make sure it's solid. So now we went ahead and already made the other connections, but we'll just show you these as well. So we have the red wire, which is to our brakes. That's going to be spliced into the black and red wire coming from the vehicle. The one we showed you was the running light wire, which is brown from the converter box, to the black and gray wire coming from the pigtail. Then finally, we have our turn signal, which is going to be attached to the black and white wire. So now, once we have those connections made, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to mount our converter box. Now, there's two ways we can mount this. We can use the double-sided tape, which Curt provides, or we could use the hole at the top here and a self-tapping screw. We're actually going to use both methods because the number one fail point we see with these converter boxes is the converter box actually coming off from the mounting surface, dangling around, which then pulls the wires out. So just as extra precaution, we're going to go ahead and use both of the attachment points. Smooth out the adhesive backing so it sticks. We're going to peel the other side up. And then I've already went ahead and test fit this panel to make sure I didn't have any interference. But it looks like the best place for us to mount it is going to be about right in this area here. Then, as stated, we're going to go ahead and use 2 points of attachment. There's only one self-tapping screw included with the kit, so if you are going to use both, you will need to find an extra self-tapper. We do sell these here at etrailer. Just like that. Now, finally, we can ground our converter box. So that's going to be the white wire we see here. We just need to find a suitable location. I'm thinking right above there should be fine. So again, you may or may not have a self-tapping screw left over, depending on how you chose to mount the converter box. So just like that. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to take this green wire, which is the other turn signal, and we're going to route that over to the passenger side of our vehicle. So now as you can see here, we have the green wire from our converter box running over to the passenger side of the vehicle. We used a piece of tape down here to secure the green wire to get it out of the way of our spare tire. We brought it over here, and again, using our quick splice method, we can attach this to the black wire with a green stripe coming from the passenger side tail light. So again, that's going to be connected to the green wire coming from our converter box. So now that we have all our other connections made for our converter box, the last one here is going to be the power wire, which is going to route up to the vehicle's battery. So we're going to take the primary wire included with our kit, as well as our butt connector. I'm going to place that on there like so. We're going to crimp this down. Give it a nice good tug to make sure it's seated. And then we're going to take the other end here. It's going to go to the black wire on our converter box. So again, same thing. Crimp that on, and again, give it a nice little tug to make sure it's seated. Now what we can do is, we're going to find a grommet here on the floor. I'll try to show you here. So we're going to use this grommet to pass our wire and route it up to the battery. So we can remove that like so. There appears to be some glue holding it in place. Now that that's out, we can go ahead and take our power wire. Once we get the end out of this, we can go ahead and route that down through the hole we made, and then we can go on the other side and pull the rest of the wire through. So we went ahead and grabbed our grommet from the underside of the vehicle, and now we're just going to drill a hole through here so we can route our power wire and still reuse the grommet. Now that we have our hole made, we can go ahead, feed our power wire through there. Now we can just go ahead and reseat the grommet, pushing our power wire down into the vehicle, just like so. So as you can see now, we have our 4-way wiring harness sitting inside the vehicle. This customer wanted the 4-pole wiring harness inside the vehicle, which is a preferred method if we're not going to be towing all the time. And then when we are ready to use it, we simply drape it off the rear bumper here. However, there is an alternative method you could use. If we remove the spare tire, there's going to be a grommet inside the spare tire wheel well that we can remove and route our 4-pole through, and then secure it to the outside of the vehicle. So again, if you would like to do that, we just have to remove the spare tire and then find the grommet. So since we're going to be leaving the 4-pole inside the vehicle, we can go ahead and finish buttoning up all our panels, reinstalling them opposite to how we removed them earlier in the video. So now that we have everything buttoned up on the inside of the vehicle, we can come underneath and run our power wire to the battery. Keep in mind, we want to avoid any objects like our exhaust tier or any moving suspension parts. So we're going to go ahead and do that now, and then we'll show you how we ran it. So our grommet is actually going to come out right behind the rear wheel well here. So therefore, a wire is going to come out here. We routed it up over here under this. As you can see here, we have it going into the K member. Now we are a little close to the exhaust here, but we should be fine with the amount of space we have, so long as we secure it and it doesn't come over anymore. So we went into the cross tube here. We came out through this hole, and we had a zip tie up here to secure the wire here. And again, we have about 6 inches or so from the exhaust, which is cutting it close, but it should be all right. We came here, down here. We have it zip tied to some brake lines here. Now I have it zip tied to the parking brake cable. And we have some more zip ties underneath this panel here. If you want to remove this panel like we did, there's going to be some 10mm nuts. There's going to be 4 of them on the outside here. That should bend down enough so you can start tying it to the brake lines here. So it's under this panel, going to come all the way out, and we're going to end here. What we went and did is we went and took a pull wire from the engine bay. So you can see here, we're just using a piece of airline tubing, and we routed it down through here right behind the trailing arm here. And essentially, what we did is we electrical taped our wire to our airline, and now we're going to go up top, pull the airline back through, which is then going to in turn take our power wire up into the engine bay. Now we can take our pull wire here, begin to pull it, in hopes that our power wire is attached to the other end. There we go. Now we can take it up here. See, our positive battery terminal is going to be right here. So we are going to cut off some of this excess wire we're not going to use. Then we're going to take our end here. We're going to strip off some of the jacket, just like so. Come back with our butt connector. Crimp this on. Now we can take our fuse holder. Gonna cut that here in half. Strip the end of the wire off. We're gonna attach one end to the power wire here. The other end is gonna have a ring terminal. It's gonna go on the battery. So the nut on our positive battery terminal here is actually not designed to come all the way off. Therefore, what we need to do is we need to clip the ends of our ring terminal, just like so. Put these together a little bit. And we can come on here, come over the battery, tighten our nut again. Then we want to check just to make sure it's tight. The last step here is to insert our 15 amp fuse into the fuse holder. Now, since we have everything hooked up, we've attached our power wire, we can test all of our lighting functions using our 4-pole circuit tester here. If you don't have one of these, you can pick one up here at eTrailer, or you can just use your trailer. So now we're going to test the brake, the left turn, the right turn, and then finally our tail lights. Now that we've tested everything and we know it's working, that's going to do it today for the Curt trailer wiring harness here for our 2014 Volkswagen Jetta SportWagen.